Hey guys, Scott here, and today we're going to take a look at another new escape room prop. This is our piano keyboard prop. Essentially what this is, it's a keyboard prop here. The players have to play a certain pattern of notes that you program into the controller. When they play the correct pattern of notes, the controller will activate, which activates a relay, opening an attached lock or turning on an electric device. Alright, so let's go ahead and power the prop up. We'll take a look at the default settings, and a little bit later we'll show you how to change the settings on the controller. Alright, so as you heard there, when the prop boots up, it will actually play the current solution. That's an option though, you can toggle that on and off. So the controller has now played the current solution to the puzzle. We can go ahead and try now to start trying to play that back and solve the puzzle. By default, we do have a setting on that will indicate an incorrect press. So if I press a note that's not in the sequence,
incorrect, start over,
you'll see we get an audio warning and we have to start over and try again. We can also toggle that on and off, which again we'll address in a little bit. So let's try to input the correct sequence. So when a correct sequence is entered, you see that the relay here activates and your success sound is played. That success sound can be changed, of course. The relay will stay on for a designated amount of time, which you can also change, and then the puzzle will become inactive. That's another setting we'll change, so we'll look at those in a second. So let's go ahead and reboot this, and we'll show you how you program in a new sequence of notes. Alright, so again, when the unit boots up, it'll play the current solution. In order to record a new solution, all we do is we take the pitch wheel here on the left, and we hold it all the way down for 5 seconds.
Recording.
A message will play letting you know that the unit is recording, and you can play your sequence now. After you've entered your sequence, hold the pitch wheel all the way to the top for 5 seconds.
Saved.
Unit will play back the saved sequence and let you know that it's been saved. Alright, so that now will be the saved sequence. We can go ahead and enter it in. And the puzzle has been solved. Alright, so let's go ahead and change some of these settings. In order to do that, we're going to go over to the PC. We're going to need a USB thumb drive like this in order to do it. We're going to create a settings file that changes some of those settings and then load that onto the controller. So we will be right back. Alright, so here we are over at the PC. I have a USB thumb drive inserted into the PC, and we can start changing our settings. So I already have a settings.ini file here. If you need to create one, you can do that with a simple text program, or we'll have one you can download on the product page on our website for this product. So let's go ahead and open this, and you'll see what it contains. You'll see here that this is our piano prop as indicated at the top, and then we have a number of different variables that can be turned on and off or altered. Alright, so the first option here is the success sequence, and this series of numbers indicates the series of keys that should be pressed on the piano keyboard in order to solve the puzzle. So this is our default value here. If you put something here, it will overwrite the existing solution on the puzzle. So if you've recorded one by pressing the keys on the puzzle and then you enter in something here, it's going to overwrite that. We'll just go ahead and leave this as the default solution for now. Next option is the success relay on time. This is how long relay 3 will stay on once a successful series of keys has been detected. Right now we have it set at 15 seconds. We can go ahead and just leave that. All right, next option is the fail relay on time. So if you're using the indicate failure option, which means that once a incorrect key is sensed, it'll play a sound and then let the person know that that's an incorrect entry, and then it will turn on relay 1 for however many seconds you have here. Currently we have that set to 2. We can keep that how it is. Next option is the keyboard instrument, and this is where you can actually change the sounds that the keyboard is making. In the manual for the product, we have a full list of all the different sounds. So let's go ahead and change this to something different. Right now it's set to number 4, which is the electric piano. But let's go ahead and change this to something more up my alley. As a former tuba player, I'm going to enter number 58 for the tuba. All right, the next option is indicate failure, and I've already changed this to 0. By default, it's 1, which is on. What this means is that if this value is set to 1, if the option is on, the prop itself will let the players know when an incorrect key has been pressed. So if you want the players to be able to sort of brute force the puzzle, figure out the melody by trial and error, leave this at 1. We want the players to actually just see what looks like a normal piano and have to figure out the melody and enter it. So we're going to change this to 0, which will suppress that indication feature. So the players won't know when they've hit an incorrect key. They'll only know when they enter the correct melody. Play solution at startup. Again, this is a 1 or a 0. It's set to 1. The prop will play the correct melody when it starts up. I like to leave that on just so that when you're booting up the prop, you know when it's ready to go. It'll play the melody, and then you know, okay, prop's up and running and ready to go. If you don't want it to play the solution at startup, you can go ahead and change this to 0. We'll go ahead and leave this at 1. All right, and our last option here is power down after success. If this is set to 1, what will happen is once a correct sequence is identified by the controller, it's just going to shut down. The prop will stop working. So it will no longer be looking for codes. The piano will become inactive. It won't play any more tunes. It'll just solve the puzzle, and then it's off. So that's usually what people would like. We can go ahead for our demonstration here and change this to 0 so you can see what happens when the power down after success option is off. The puzzle will essentially keep running and you can solve it over and over again. All right, so once we have our settings as we like them, we can just go ahead and save this file and we can close it. All right, so let's say we also want to change some of the audio that's played by the controller. Well, I have 2 files here. I have a sort of error buzzer sound, which could be used to indicate an incorrect sequence. And I have a flourish trumpet sound, which could be used as a success sound. If we want to replace the current sounds on the controller with these new ones, all we have to do is name them properly and then copy them onto that same USB drive we're going to copy our settings file onto. So for our fail buzzer, all we want to do is click here so we can change the name and type fail, all lowercase, and then hit enter to save it. For our trumpet sound here, which we want to be our success sound, again, we just click to change the name and type success, all lowercase, and hit enter. We've now changed the names of these files so that when we take the USB drive and insert it into the controller, it's going to look for files with these names and overwrite the current files that are on the controller now. All right, so we're ready to load the files onto the USB drive. We can just navigate down to the File Explorer here, open that up, and then select our thumb drive. You'll see the folder is currently empty, so we can copy our settings.ini file over, and then we can grab both of the audio files here and copy those over as well. Once the copy is complete, we can just right-click and go to eject. Once the USB stick is ejected, we can go ahead and remove it from the PC and head back over to the controller. All right, so we're back at the prop now. We have our USB drive from the computer with the new settings file on it and the new audio files. We can go ahead and just plug that into any of the USB ports on the controller and power the controller up.
Copy.
So you hear an audio file indicating that the files are being copied. It didn't get a chance to play all the way through there because the copy was very quick. And then this relay here will flash 5 times, letting you know the copy is finished. We can go ahead and remove the USB drive now and reset the prop, power it off, and power it back on. All right, so as you can hear, we still have that option to play the success sound, and it has taken that string of digits we had in that first field and replaced the solution that we had previously recorded. And it is playing it all in that beautiful tuba tone. If you remember before, too, if we hit any of the keys on the prop, it would give us an error sound if they weren't part of the correct sequence, which would allow players to sort of figure out the melody by trial and error over time. We've turned that off, so now this will act more like a normal keyboard. Players can play any melody they like, and it won't really indicate that that's not the correct melody. It will only let them know when they've entered the correct sequence of notes. So let's go ahead and record a new sequence. We'll hold down on our pitch wheel here for 5 seconds.
Recording.
And we can enter in a new sequence of notes.
And hold up on the pitch wheel for 5 seconds to save.
Saved.
Controller will let us know it saved that new solution. Let's go ahead and enter the new solution and we'll hear our new success sound. And the success relay here will be active for 15 seconds, at which point it will turn off. Now previously that would then end the function of this puzzle. Pressing keys would not do anything, but because we changed that option in the settings, this will now actually continue to function just as it did before. So players can continue to play the keyboard and they can even enter in the success again in order to trigger the relay a second time. And it will just keep functioning like that on repeat. So if you just want the relay to come on for a certain length of time when the correct solution is input, and then it's okay if it turns back off and the puzzle keeps running, you can use that setting. If you prefer for the puzzle to just shut all the way off once its solution has been entered, then you can do that as well. All right, so that's a quick look at our new keyboard prop. If you have any questions, of course, you can leave a comment on this video or send us an email at sales@fryprops.com. Thanks.